Yo, RX finally back with another breakdown of UFC São Paulo Almeida versus Ruiz. We are finally back. It felt like it was more than a week, but it was only a week break. It sucked, but what can you do? We are finally back. First card of November. Hope everyone had a great Halloween, and it's time for fights after a week of nothing. One Invicta's the biggest and best fights you got on all week. That's a problem. No hate to Invicta. Invicta's fine, just come on. But yeah, enough about that. Really anything to talk about is this card, because it's actually a pretty decent card. Back to Brazil for the first time since, was it 287 at the start of the year? The first card of this year, I remember, when that was obviously Jamal Hill and Glover Teixeira. That card was pretty good. So now we are back, and we got a pretty good fight night. Very, very solid for a fight night. A lot of good fights, and it was a great main event. So, not really much more to say besides the usual. Please like, comment, subscribe. 50 subs go by the end of the year. We had 6 more cards this year. That means 6 breakdowns, one of them being the one you're watching. 6 recaps. Come on, I've done every card this year. Come on. Nah, I'm kidding, but please like, comment, sub, and as always, unless I'm forgetting to talk about something, which I don't think I am, let's break down some fights. 13 fights in total. We did lose a fight, but we did lose, fighter Lucas Alexander got rebooked for 2 weeks. But besides that, everyone else here got rebooked. So, let's begin. We got a good amount of prelims, good and bad prelims overall, and let's start with the first fight of the night. A lightweight fight between Kauê Fernandes versus Marc Bone Crusher Diakiese. Not a bad fight. Actually, let me rephrase that. Not a bad fight if this guy loses, because we know how he fights. We'll talk about him in a minute. Let's talk about the newcomer, Kauê Fernandes. Kauê, and if I'm playing that wrong, I'm sorry. Kauê making his UFC debut, nice record, 8-1, can't really get mad at that. No idea how old he is. I'm guessing he's like 28, 29. A good amount of finishes, 2 wins by decision. He had 1 loss, a decision where I heard he did gas out, but what can you do? And that was over 2 years ago now, so he has got better since, I'm hoping. And UFC clearly thinks he's good, giving him a fucking fight right off the bat against a veteran that's been around a while in the lightweight division. So clearly they see something in this dude. So maybe he's good. I have really no idea. He's not really, let's see, has he fought anyone? He actually has a couple nice wins, 6-1, 4-0, 9-1, 6-0, 21-5. So he actually has fought a couple decent fighters. And his losses to a dude who is undefeated still, so, yeah. So, yeah, not very much to say. I know very, very little about this guy, so never know what's gonna happen. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not. To talk about his opponent, Marc Diakiese, guy I'm not a fan of, because lately in the last couple years, he has become the most boring fighter in the world. Marc in the UFC has a 7-7 record. His best wins are that great knockout Timu Pichel, Lando, Borshev, and Demir. His losses, he's lost to really good guys, Dakar Close, Dan Hooker, Nasrat Haqparaz, Rafael Fiziev, Rafael Alves, Michael Johnson, and Joel Alvarez. So, he's losing to good fighters, which is a good thing, and he's beating very bad fighters, pretty much. So, like, his best win is Slava Claus. That says a lot. yeah, the bad thing, in his last 2 wins, he's just became the most boring fighter. He's literally just gonna lay on you. He's not gonna actually fight. All he did was lay on Slavikov. All he did was lay on Demir. Michael Johnson and Joe Alvarez actually made him fight, and that's why he lost. So, yeah, I don't like Marc Diakiese. I think he's boring as shit. I think he's a bum. And until he fights like a normal, until he actually fights like a real fighter, I'm not gonna fucking pick him. I'm not gonna cheer for him. He sucks. So, I'm happy Joel and Michael beat him. I like both of those guys. So, yeah, fuck Diakiese. I think he fucking sucks. Not very much to say. The Brener's first fight have Marc Diakiese minus 150 to plus 125. Sorry, my voice is a little fucked right now. Yeah, those odds probably make sense, because we really know little about Fernandes, and to throw this guy against a veteran like Diakiese right off the rip is very dangerous. So I get it. And sure, it makes sense. It does make sense overall on paper. So, yeah. But who am I going with in this fight? I'm gonna go Kauê, because again, fuck Diakiese. If he wins, it's gonna be boring as shit, so fuck him. My pick here is gonna be Kauê Fernandes. Hopefully the young dude is actually good. We'll see. And that's my pick. So, I'm starting off the night with an underdog. Very few are picking. Hopefully you can get it done. Pick to start the night is Kauê Fernandes. I'm gonna go by knockout in the first, because he has 4 finishes in the first round. Hopefully he makes it 5. Because unless Diakiese gets if Diakiese gets a cool finish, fine. But if he wins a boring decision, fuck him. So, we pick Kauê Fernandes by knockout in the first. Let's go. After that, we had the second fight of the night. A fight I'm very excited for, because I'm very excited to see a debut in this one. And I'll talk more about that in a second. Our second fight of the night is Montserrat Sanjejo Ruiz versus Eduarda Ronda Moura. Edward Moura is actually the first fighter from this year's Contender Series to debut who actually got a contract. I'm not counting Josephine Kunetsin because she did not get a contract. She just stepped on short notice. So, Edra is the first of many. We got 2 others on this card. We got 1 or 2 next week. We got ones on the card after that, and after that, though. Very cool to see these fighters finally debuting, and Moura is actually one of my favorite fighters from that season. I think she's very good. I'll talk about that more in a minute. So, but cool stat line there. But let's first talk about the veteran in this fight, the person stepping in on short notice. Ruiz stepped in for some other chick making her debut. I really for So Yuli Kim. Another person I have no idea who that is. So yeah, I think this is a better fight because I actually know who Ruiz is. Montserrat in the UFC is 1-2. Her 1 win is Cheyenne Velismaz, and her 2 losses are Amanda Lemos and Jacqueline Amorim. She is not very good against Brazilians. In the UFC debut, really little to say. She was just able to head and arm throw Velismaz for 15 minutes. Not really showing too much there. And in her 2 losses, she fought Amanda Lemos. That went as well as you think it did. And Jacqueline Amorim, which she just got completely destroyed. I thought she could have won this fight, but the size was such a disadvantage here. She just got dominated, so... And now she's fighting another good fighter who's taller than her by a couple inches, and this is gonna go probably pretty bad for her. She has heart. For being 5 feet tall in the UFC, good job, you made it. This just gonna go bad for her, most likely. I only know how she could win this fight. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Jessica Andrade makes her height kind of a non-factor in fights against the right opponent because she fights how she fights, just like a little tank. But Ruiz doesn't. Ruiz fights nothing like that, and that's why she is kind of beatable very easily, because she don't rush. She has no power in her hands really. She kind of wants to fucking wrestle you, to be honest. So, and then for a small fighter to fight like that, it's pretty much fighting at your weakness to an extent. So I kind of feel bad for her, but at the same time, those were the cards you were given. So what can you do? Besides that, I feel bad for Ruiz. Perhaps they're stepping on short nose in a very hard fight, but I think this is gonna go just as bad as her last fight. So yeah. To talk about her opponent, Moura. Edra is making her debut from Contender Series, of course. I'm very excited to see Edra in the UFC. She looked fantastic on the Contender Series. Looked fucking phenomenal. And I'm interested to see how she looked. She is a training partner of Jonathan Almeida, which definitely helps, especially being on the card with him, which is cool. And this is a very favorable matchup. I think she is a better fighter than Jacqueline Moura, so that will tell you something there. And she's just a really good fighter. Her ground game is, she's gonna take you down and beat you up. She did it on a Contender Series. She's probably gonna do it again to Montserrat. So I think this is gonna be interesting. I think this is going to be a really good performance for Edra. Really great debut fight. I think she's going to look good. Only 29 years old. Undefeated record. I'm excited to see her in the UFC. If I remember her striking ain't even that bad. I don't remember it really, but if I remember, it's not like terrible. And I'm interested to see how she does. How good she looks. She should win this fight 10 out of 10 times. I really don't see how she wouldn't, so let's see how she does. The betting odds first fight have Edra Moura minus 450 to plus 340. I agree. You could put Edra at minus 500. I really don't see how she could lose this fight. She is 6 inches taller, which is taller than Jacqueline Moura. She has a 5-inch reach advantage. She is fucking coming off a great performance on Contender Series, so she's fresh. Ruiz coming off a loss, actually around the same time, which is kind of funny. So everything's against Ruiz here. I really don't know how she could win this fight. You're not gonna beat her on the ground. You're probably not gonna beat her on the feet. I really am struggling to see any way Ruiz can win this fight, so yeah, I feel bad for her, but that's just the way she goes, man. Just the way she goes. So my pick here is, of course, going to be Edra Moura, no question about it. I think she's going to win this pretty soundly. Take her down, sub her, go home. So yeah, that's my pick. So, yeah, sorry Ruiz, but my pick here is Edra Moura by submission in the... I'm going to say... first or second? I'm going to say in the first. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say in the first. That might change, but most likely in the first. Take her down, sub her real quick, go home, so... yeah, not really much more to say. I'm excited to see Edra's debut. I think she's a great prospect, and I think she's going to get a first round submission. Moura by submission in the first. After that, we had another good strawweight fight. This one should be on the main card, in my opinion, but UFC is going to shitty order like always. As we have a banger between Angela Overkill Hill versus Denise D. Gomes. What a good fight. Veteran versus prospect, which is a normal fucking Saturday for Angela Hill, it seems. And I'm excited for this one. I'm very excited for this one, and let's talk about Angela Hill. Angie in the UFC is 10-13. I'm not going to go over all her fights because no, but to go over a very, very, I don't need to go over, I'll go over her last couple fights. because going down here, it's not the same fighter and it really means nothing. So, I'll go from the Tisha Torres fight. Like, she was on a bad skid, but then she's, like, even though she probably won this lame-ish fight, that was a terrible decision, and that says a lot. But yeah, she got beat by Jandy, then she beat Lupita and Emily pretty easily, and then lost to Mackenzie. The weird thing about Angie, and I swear to God, it makes no sense. And these fights against these prospects, Ducote, Loopy, and Lemos, she somehow just is able to... They somehow always underperform against her, and they lose. Like, Lemos should have lost, and she did not look very good. Loopy got beat, who... Let's be honest, who do you really think's a better fighter out of these two? It's not Angela Hill. And Emily Ducote got beat, and Emily Ducote just didn't fucking fight. So, she literally just stood there and looked at Angie for 15 minutes. So, it makes, Angie is not a good fighter. She does shitty against Ashley. Like, I'll talk about a dirt fight in a second, but against other, like, veterans. But for some reason, against these prospects, she just fights at her best. If the champion was this fucking young fighter with, like, a normal small record, 12-6, 8-2, whatever, she'd beat him. But then she would turn around and lose to fucking Tisha Torres. So, it makes no sense. And yet, like, look at a couple, like, you're telling me you lose to Courtney Casey, Nina Nunez, Randa Marcos, and Michelle Watterson, but you can beat Amanda Lemos, Loopy, and Loopy Godinez? Huh? Makes no fucking sense. So that actually played a big factor into this fight, which I'll talk about her fight. I'll talk about Denise and all that in a minute. But yeah, and talk about Angie's last fight, which I'm shocked she's back so quick after. She got her fucking ass beat. Like, one of the worst beatings we've seen this year. Like, respect to her for staying awake through all that. The shots she took, how she ate that knee, I'll still never know. But Jesus Christ, she made Mackenzie Dern look like fucking the greatest fighter we've never seen. So, but it just goes back to my point. She fucking overperforms against prospects, or underperforms against veterans. But I thought she was probably gonna win this fight, to be honest. Then she gets fucking dominated. So, she makes no sense. And that's, like, Angela Hill is one of the top fighters, if not maybe the top fighter. I hate picking, like, doing their fights, because you have no idea what's gonna happen, because you don't know who the fuck's gonna show up that night. Like, so, I don't know, and not like Angie's a skilled fighter. She's not, if we really look at Angie over, she's not a really good fighter. Her striking is fine, her ground game is there. She's just not a really good fighter. But for some reason, she can overperform and underperform to the 9th degree. Like, it makes no sense, but that's Angela Hill. Female Michael Johnson is an understatement. Like, they win fights they shouldn't, they lose fights they shouldn't. It makes no Like, I made a tweet one time. Now, I'll shut up in a second about Angie. If Angie and Michael Johnson fought Whaley and Islam on the same card, they'd both win the belts easily somehow. But then they would turn around and lose to, like, like, Angie would go around and lose to goddamn Michelle Watterson or some shit. It's like, huh? Like, it makes no sense. But that's Angie, man. To talk about her opponent, Denise Gomes, a fucking wrecking ball. Denise in the UFC is 2-1 coming off the Contender Series. In her UFC debut, she stepped on short notice and fought Luma Lukbumi. That didn't go very well. Then she came back early this year and destroyed Bruna Brazil. And then in her last fight, one of the biggest what the fuck moments of the year, her running through Yasmin Halgui like she's nothing. One of the, like, what the fuck moments of the year. Like, her running through Bruna, was I shocked a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, okay, Bruna, she's green, it's understandable. Running through Yasmin Halgui like that? Dude, I don't even know how. She just timed the overhand perfectly and fucking fucked her up. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, Denise Gomes is a problem. Like, the Luma fight, she had her moments, but she was on short notice fighting Luma Luke Boomy, who was very good. But dude, this 2023 is her year. Like, Jessica Andrade vibes. Just fucking, if she touches her chin, you're going down. And she's only 23 years old. Jesus Christ. This is a name we're gonna hear for a while. Denise Gomes, man. It's funny, I remember seeing her on a Contender Series. I was like, she's kinda good. I'm very interested to see her in the UFC. And then she fights Luma and looks pretty underwhelming. I was like, okay, she needs more time. And then, out of nowhere, she's knocking out Bruna and Yasmin like it's nothing, and it's like, huh? So, this is gonna be weird and interesting. I'm very interested to see how she does in this fight. Does she lose all her talent like everyone else? Can she crack Angie's chin? We're gonna see, because I have no idea. The betting odds for this fight have Denise Gomes to minus 135 to plus 110. I don't fucking know. Having Angela Hill as an underdog is never a good thing. Like, I will say, you should always bet on Angie as an underdog, just because you never know with her. And when was the last time she was actually a favorite in a fight? I guarantee you she lost that fight too. She was a dog against Mackenzie, Ducote. Was she a favorite against Jandy? Nope. It was Tisha. No. When was the last fight she was actually a favorite in? Yoder, but that's actual Yoder. She's not been a favorite in years. Crazy shit. But, yeah, man. And what a weird fight. A great fight, though. Because, take away all this shit I'm saying, just these two fighters, this is gonna be a good fight. Angie's a dog. Denise Gomes is fucking insane. I'm excited. I think this is gonna be an interesting fight, and I'm very excited. Who am I picking? Oh yeah, in the betting odds, I'd have it to pick him. I would not want Angela Hill as an underdog. So, yeah. But, who am I going with in this fight? I'm gonna go Denise Gomes with very little confidence. On paper, she should win this fight. She is so much younger. She is on a fucking roll right now. If you can beat Yasmin Halgui in 20 seconds, you should beat Angela Hill. Which means she's going to lose to Angela Hill. I'm gonna go Denise Gomes with very little confidence, is what I'll say. Well, the pick here is gonna be Denise Gomes by decision. I don't think she'll be able to crack that chin if she does win. Maybe, but if Dern didn't with the shit she was landing, Gomes probably won't. And yeah, sorry about that. My pick here is gonna be Denise Gomes by a decision. I'm not confident. I fell for this trap too many times, but I'll fucking put my foot in the bear trap again if I have to. Moon Denise Gomes by decision. Should be a good fight. I'm excited. After that, we head to light heavyweight for a pretty fine fight. Nothing that great about it. We have Victor Petrino versus Modestas, the Baltic gladiator Bukauskas. Let's start off by talking about the prospect, Victor Petrino. Victor in the UFC is 2-0 coming off the Contender Series. In his UFC debut, he had a pretty tough fight, weirdly, with Anton Turkalj. Anton brought him a dogfight that he was not ready for, and Victor did come out on top, but it was not a good performance. But then, in his last fight, he ran through Marcin Prachnio. It did take him to the third round to beat him, but he still did get to win and was able to submit him. Not his best performance. It was more just a pretty smart, relaxed. It was a pretty smart, just whenever I can get to finish, I'll get to finish, and that's what he did. He got to finish when he could and walked away with a W. In a fight, he usually won a decision anyway, so. Now he's fighting Bukauskas, which is on the same level of the guy he's already beat. It is his, I'd say he's better than Petrino, Pacquiao. So yeah, this is a little bit of a step up, but like very little. So yeah. Yeah, Victor's a weird fighter. Like, his gas tank's terrible, and that's my biggest fear in this fight, is gas tank does play a factor. Because if it does, that means nothing good. But if it doesn't, we're gonna be in good luck. His striking is good, a lot of power, his ground game is good. It's just that gas tank is very worrying. It's very, very worrying. And I hope I don't have to worry about it in this fight. Like, he is a good fighter, very good fighter. That gas tank's just weak. To talk about his opponent, Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas in the UFC is 3-3. His 3 wins are Andreas Mitrulaitis, Tyson Pedro, and Zach Pounga. His 3 losses are Jimmy Crute, Michael Oleszczak, and Khalil Roundtree. His 3 losses, he lost to 2 good fighters and Michael Oleszczak. His 3 wins, he beat 3 terrible fighters. So I'm still not sold on Bukauskas. I still don't think he's a good fighter. Like, cool, you can beat Tyson Pedro and Zach Pounga, who can't. So, and you didn't even look that good against Pounga either, might I add. That was a very weak performance, and same thing with, no, actually against Pedro, you looked very good, but still, Tyson Pedro is garbage. Yeah, Bukauskas I'm not sold on him, but maybe he can get another win. I'll talk more about that in a second, but again, I'm not sold on him yet. His striking is like whatever. His ground game is, I don't even think I can remember him going to the ground. So yeah, he's just not very good. Your betting odds for this fight have Victor Petrino -250 to +200. I agree. My big concern in this fight is Victor's gas tank. If this fight goes into the later rounds, that's late in the second, early in the third round, that'll probably be Bukauskas' fight. And that's really the only way I can see him winning this fight, is dragging it out into like the second, having Victor gassed, and then picking him apart like he did Tyson Pedro. But if Victor's able to fight smart, keep his gas tank going, then he's gonna beat Bukauskas pretty easily. So the ending, especially, or if he can crack that chin, which is not too difficult to do, I think he's gonna walk out of Brazil with a W. So yeah, not really much more to say. Gonna be interesting, to say the least. Gonna be a very interesting fight, and gonna answer a lot of questions about Victor. Victor has a lot of potential. He just needs to get that gas tank down, so hopefully he can. So who am I going with in this fight? Of course, I'm going with Victor Petrino. I think he's gonna get the win here. And did I say Victor that whole time? It's Vitor. My bad, I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'm going Vitor Petrino, and I'm gonna go by knockout in the probably the first. Yeah, I'll say in the first, maybe the second. I don't know, first or second. I'm leaning first, but you never know. So, but yeah, not really much more to say. Vitor Petrino by knockout in the first or second. Just don't gas. After that, we had to bantamweight for a pretty whatever fight, in my opinion. Then I got Daniel Thancoro Marcos versus Victor Hugo. This is our second debut from the Contender Series this year. Hugo is stepping in for Daniel Santos. Well, here is our second WCS debut this year. But let's first talk about Daniel Marcos. Daniel in the UFC is 2-0, coming off the Contender Series. In the UFC debut, he ran through Simon Oliveira, as he should have, as a underdog, who I picked. And then in his last fight, he had a very tough fight with Davy Grant. Did he win? Very questionable. It was a pretty hard fight to score. I don't really remember how I scored it. It was just a very close, tough fight to score is all I remember. So, but yeah, I think that fight that made Marcos better. I think he did get better from it. He took some lessons. If he's smart, he took some lessons from that fight and got better. Like, cause Davy fucking tested him, man. He tested him big time, and hopefully in getting, getting a giant step down here, he should be able to look 10 times better. So let's see if he does. Daniel is a fine fighter. His striking's decent. His gassing, he did gas in that Grant fight, but like the end of the second, he was pretty tired. But he's not a bad fighter. He's an okay prospect, but I do think he's beatable. And when he does fight, even like the top unranked guys like a Kyler Phillips or a Mario Bautista, he is gonna lose. Even Daniel Santos might have beat him. So yeah. But yeah, Marcos is a fine fighter. He's young, 30 years old, 15-0, prime of his career. You never know what could happen. But yeah, he got stepped down here, so it was pretty much just a showcase fight. To talk about the opponent, Victor Hugo, not gonna waste much time. I don't know why they gave him a contract. He did not impress me at all in the Contender Series. I don't think he's that good. And yeah, I saw nothing that impressive on a Contender Series. He did a knee bar. Oh boy. And he's gonna lose here, so that's all that matters. So, yeah, the betting odds for his fight have Daniel Marcos minus 250 to plus 200. I agree, you could have him higher, 300, whatever. He's gonna win this fight. Just a showcase fight. And, yeah, I'm going Daniel Marcos, of course. I'm gonna go by probably decision. He should be able to just pick him apart at range, maybe get a finish, but I doubt it. I think he'll just fight smart here and get the win, so I'm going Daniel Marcos by decision. Yeah, he's just a better fighter, completely, and I'm not too worried. I was not impressed with Hugo in the slightest, so, yeah. First time picking against a Brazilian on this card. Does that continue? We'll see. Yeah, Daniel Marcos by decision. After that, we had to our second to last prelim, a great fight that should be way higher on the card. As we have Elizeu Capoeira Zaleski versus Rinat Gladiator Fakhretdinov. Great fight. Let's talk about Zaleski. Zaleski in the UFC is 10-3. I won't go down his whole UFC career because he's been in the UFC forever. I think really I'll just talk about his last 2 fights. In that fight against Benoit, who's gotten way better since, going back down to 55, he destroyed him, looked flawless. If that ref actually knew how to stop a fight. And then in his last fight a couple months ago, he had a very okay performance against Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Not the best performance in the world. He's definitely had better performances. Not his best performance. But I'll give him benefit of the doubt. It was his first fight in almost 2 years. Abubakar it's not that easy of a fight. He is kind of tough. And he still walked out with a W and he looked fine. So, but he is 36 years old. But he is a good fighter. I think Zaleski's a very kind of underrated fighter. He's not bad at all. He's pretty decent. And I think this is a good fight for him. This will show you how good Zaleski is still. Cause prime Zaleski, this fight would be really good. But this kind of older, still good, but getting up there in age Zaleski, this will be interesting. So. But yeah, Zaleski, his striking is good. He, of course, has really good ground game. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna test Rinat. Even if I think Rinat should be fighting in the rankings, which I'll talk about that right now. Because speaking of Rinat, Fakhretdinov, I'll talk about him. Rinat in the UFC is 3-0. He has 3 wins. Andreas Michelitis, Brian Battle, and Kevin Lee. Rinat's a fucking problem, dude. He is scary good. Like, he is so good, it's kind of silly. Like, he is a top 15 dude, which is true. They did rank him at 15th, thankfully. But I wish they actually gave him a ranked fight here. Michael Chiesa, Kavanaugh, and fucking Sean Brady, even Calvin Gastelum. Goddamn. But I get it. You want to give him another fight, another step up. But come on, this dude is more than proven to be really good. So, but whatever, he's just gonna have to show it again here, which is fine. What can you do? And I think he's gonna show it, show up and show out, man. He's really good, really, really good, and I think he's gonna get tested here. I definitely think he's gonna get tested to an extent, but I think he's gonna walk out looking pretty good. So, yeah, and Rinat, his striking is getting better. His ground game is phenomenal. He's just really, really good. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Rinat Fakhretdinov minus 350 to plus 275. I agree. Rinat is a legit problem. If his striking keeps getting better, I would not be shocked if we're looking at a future champion. Fuck out of the round, he beats Leon Edwards, who's not very good. So, yeah. Not really much more to say. My pick here is, of course, going to be Rinat Fakhretdinov. And I'm going to say Rinat by... I've been trying to think if I can see him finishing Zaleski. I could, but I'm going to go for what I feel confident. That is a decision. Yes, I know he finished Kevin Lee, but that's Kevin Lee, so... So, yeah, I'm going to go Rinat by decision. I think Zaleski will be tough enough to survive. And, yeah. So my pick here is going to be Rinat Fakhretdinov by decision. This dude's really good. Keep your eye on this guy. Learn that name. And I think we're going to be seeing it a lot over the next however many years. So, yeah, Rinat by decision. Very excited. That dude's a problem. And now for the featured prelim. A fight that did get some changes. I'll talk about that in a second. But still a pretty good fight. As we end the prelims with Elves, Brener versus Kaynan, Bahia, Kruschewsky. If I said that wrong, which I know I did, my bad. Kaynan is stepping in for Esteban Robovics, who pulled out on Monday or Tuesday. So he's really stepping in on short notice, but happy he's stepping in. He saved Brener from getting pulled from the card, and good shit, my guy. But yeah, pretty good, pretty decent fight. And let's talk about Elves Brener. Brener in the UFC should be 1-1. In the UFC debut, he should have lost to the Vieira Hugo. That's still a robbery. But then in his last fight, he showed a lot of heart against German Kruschewsky. In a fight he was clearly losing, he was able to crack Guram's chin and put him down. Which, to knock off Guram like that, a dude a lot of people are high on, were high on, that says a lot. That says a lot that he was able to do that to Guram Kruschewsky. So, he's good. He goes to shoot the box, so he has heart. He's a very good fighter. I'll give him benefit of the doubt to Hugov fight. He stepped in on short notice. He should have lost that fight. We'll just forget. I won't even get mad at him for that anymore. But for this Guram fight, he was losing. Was able to crack that chin and get the win. He's good. His striking is good. His heart is fucking really good. His ground game really good. Brener is a pretty good fighter. Definitely a good name to keep an eye on. At lightweight, he can really make some noise. He's a good fighter, man. A little short, 5'10", maybe that's just me, but feels a little small for lightweight. But what can you do? He just beat Guram Kruschewsky, so it's not that bad. And yeah, I'm excited to see him, how he does here. First time, no, my bad, I was gonna say first time out the Apex, but 284 is not in the Apex. So, yeah, very much more to say. Brener's really good. Very excited to see how he does in this fight. So, the opponent, Kaynan Kruschewsky. I know I'm saying that wrong. Kaynan is coming off the Contender Series. He actually earned his contract, unlike someone else. He looked great on Contender Series, running through this dude. If I remember, he clubbed and subbed him, which was impressive. He looked great and got a nice contract. Yeah, he's good. He's good. I was impressed. It's a little lame that he's getting a short-nosed fight, because I think he is a good fighter, but it's cool. What can you do? Like, he's not going to pass up a short-notice opportunity in Brazil to fight Elves Brener, featured prelim. He's not going to do that, so respect him. But this might go bad for him. I think full camp would be more interesting, but what can you do? Kaynan is good. His striking's good. I don't think that's good as Brener's. His ground game's good. We'll see if it is as good as Brener's. And really, does he have as much heart as Brener? That's a real big if there. So yeah, this is a pretty good fight. I'm excited for it. And who am I going with? Well, the betting odds have Elves Brener minus 160 to plus 135. I'd bet Brad Brener maybe a little higher, 170, 180. He should win this fight. Short notice opponent. Like, literally, like, Tuesday he stepped in, so I don't know. I'm gonna go Brener here. He should win. Could he lose? Of course, but I'm not too worried. So my pick here is gonna be Elves Brener by decision. I won't be shocked if he can catch Kaynan in a summation or clip him like he did Kuram. But I'm gonna go with my gut and say decision. So that's my pick. Elves Brener by decision. Never know what can happen. Let's see. Let's see. Those are the prelims. Pretty good prelims. Moura, Gomes, Petrino, Rinat. Pretty good fights on the prelims. So you can't really complain too much. But now we go over to the main card, which is pretty good. Pretty good main card. We got some pretty good fights on here, and we also got some pretty questionable fights on here. So yeah, let's talk about the main card. 42 minutes in. Good job, me. We begin the main card with a pretty good fight between Ismael Marata Bonfim versus Vinc from Hell Pichel. Let's talk about Ismael Bonfim. The first of the Bonfim boys fighting tonight, the lesser of the two. Bonfim in the UFC is 1-1, coming off the Contender Series. In his debut earlier this year at 283, he flatlined Terrence McKinney, one of the best knockouts of the year. Looked amazing, had all the hype, and then he ran into the brick wall that is Benoit Saint-Denis. I've heard a couple people talk a little bit bad about Bonfim because of this fight, but dude, he fought Benoit Saint-Denis on short notice, no less. He stepped in and fought and accepted to fight Benoit, who was actually meant, funny enough, to fight Vinc Pichel on the card they fought on. So he stepped in and fought Benoit on short notice. That's even fucking, like, come on. I'm not gonna dock many points in the slightest. Benoit Saint-Denis on short notice. What do you really want him to do besides what he did? And he looked as good as you can against Benoit Saint-Denis. So yeah, Ismael is definitely the weaker of the two brothers skill wise. He has a couple holes in his game, but he is a good fighter. And I think if he, with a full camp, again, against a giant step down, he's going to show out here. Opening up the main card, I think he's going to look pretty good. I think he might give us another highlight, and I'm very excited. So, yeah, I'm hyped to see Ismael back, and let's see how he does. And against a tough test, but a test he should pass. Since he's not fighting Benoit Saint-Denis on short notice. again, and let's not go over the fact that what he did to Terrence McKinney was very impressive. McKinney, like, he walked down McKinney and was not scared of him at all, so respect on that part. To talk about his opponent, Vinc Pichel. Vinc in the UFC is 7-3. I'm not going to go down his whole UFC career. I'll go down his last 4 fights. Vinc actually had a nice winning streak going into the 2020s. Beat Roosevelt Roberts right before 2020. Then took a year off, beat Jim Miller. Took another year off, beat Austin Hubbard. So he had a nice 3-fight winning streak going. And then last year, he fought Marc Madsen, got beat, not his best performance, and now he's back another year later at fighting Ismael Bonfim. The one giant red flag for Pichel is what I just said. He fights once a year, and doing that at 40 years old is very bad. So keep that as something in the back of your mind. Plus, throw in the fact that he is not really that good of a fighter. He's pretty much just like, if we can brawl, we're gonna brawl. He's a pretty basic boxer. He's not very skilled. He's just an old time dude. I don't know. He's not very great. Like, he can get some knockouts. He has some power in his hands, but not really much to it. Especially this late in his career, he's not got a finish in years since he was on fucking Tough, no less, and that was in 2012. So, yeah. He's not really that good of a fighter, and I don't think this is going to be a good fight for him. So, respect him for taking a pretty hard fight, but this is going to go pretty bad, I feel. So, yeah. Not really much more to say. This probably going to go bad for the old man. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Ismael Bonfim minus 450 to plus 350. I agree. He should win this fight. I really don't see Bonfim losing this fight. How would he? Unless he falls into Pichel's trap of fighting pretty like lackluster, or he just gets like the veteran is able to just outsmart the young guy, like making him gas or something. But I really don't see that happening. So I think this is going to go pretty well for Ismael. I think he's going to be able to get back in the win column. And I'm going to, my pick here is definitely Ismael Bonfim. I think he'll be able to beat the veteran here. So, yeah, 27 versus 41 pretty much. Plus a 40-year-old who doesn't fight more than once a year. This is probably going to go pretty bad for Pichel. So, yeah. My pick here is going to be Ismael Bonfim. I'm going to say by knockout in the I'm gonna say by knockout in the second. Yeah, I'll say knockout in the second. I could see a first round knockout, but I think he's gonna want to fight smart at first and then hit him with the big shit in a second. So yeah, that's my pick. Ismael Bonfim by knockout in the second. I think he'll be able to just catch him with something sometime in the fight and get the win. So, yeah, Bonfim by knockout in the second. Should be a good bounce back fight for Ismael. After that, we head to our second main card fight. Why is this on the main card? I have no idea. Not really that good of a fight, but you never know. We have Rodolfo, the Black Belt Hunter Vieira versus Armen Superman Petrosian. Let's talk about Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo in the UFC is 4-2. His 4 wins are Oscar Pichel, Sparbog Safarov, Dustin Stoltzfus, and Cody Brundage. His 2 losses are Anthony Hernandez and Chris Curtis. For his 4 wins, he's beat 4 pretty bad fighters, and if you really look deep, especially into the Brundage fight, he got rocked pretty bad by Cody Brundage, and almost got finished by him, so not a good look. And then, in his 2 losses, like, this has aged better and better. Anthony Hernandez is a great fighter, So this has aged a lot better over time. And then losing to Chris Curtis is never a good thing, because Chris Curtis sucks. He's a little bitch. And Curtis even had a pretty bad performance, so that does not really help Rodolfo's case. So, yeah. Not really really that good of a fighter. Like, if he can't get you to the ground and sub you, you're gonna beat him. His striking is non-existent, and his gas tank's non-existent. He's very beatable, and if you don't go to the ground with him, you really got nothing to worry about. So, yeah, I would not be too worried fighting him. Like, if you can keep it on the feet, you will beat him. He's just not a good fighter with a terrible gas tank. So, yeah. And talk about his opponent, Armen Petrosian. Armen in the UFC is 3-1. Really should be maybe, I would say 2-2. His 2 wins are AJ Dobson and Christian Leroy Duncan. His 2 losses are Gregory Rodriguez and Kyle Borrello. That Rodriguez fight was a great fight, showed a lot of heart, but he should have lost it. Then he ran into Kyle, who I'm going to talk about in the next fight. Can't get mad at that at all. And then, for his 2 wins, he beat AJ Dobson, who's not very good, and Christian Leroy Duncan, who sucks. So, yeah, not very much to say on that. Arman's not a bad fighter. He's very average. Like, he can win when he can beat bad fighters. He will lose to good fighters. Like, he gave Gregory Rodriguez a run for his money, went to war with him. And, yeah, he's not bad. He's really not too bad. He can't hang with great fighters. Like, Kyle Borrello, he had nothing for. But he definitely is getting, like, very, like, reasonable matchups for his skill level lately. And, which is a good thing, so, yeah. Not very much to say about Arman. He's average. His striking is good. His gas tank is fine. His ground game is passable. He's fine. He's very whatever. He's nothing too special about him. The bang after his fight are pick'em. I would agree. If this, like, Rodolfo could catch him in a submission at any time, but Arman could clip him with something at any time. So it's kind of a double-edged sword to an extent, and that sword, someone's gonna fall on that sword, and I wonder who's gonna be. This fight could go, like, either, like I said, Rodolfo can get a submission, or Arman can clip him or win a decision. What do I think's gonna happen? I'm gonna go with Arman. I think he'll be able to clip Rodolfo and finish him. Just don't go to the ground. You should be able to win this fight, so I'm gonna go for Armen Petrosian to get the away game W. And I'm gonna say by knockout in the second. It might happen in the first. It is definitely a little more likely to happen first, but you never know. It could happen in the second. Rodolfo will be gassed by then, so you never know. I'm gonna say in the first, but it could happen in the second. So my pick here is gonna be Armen Petrosian by knockout in the second. I think he can really hurt a gassed or just hurt Rodolfo overall and finish him. So yeah, that's my pick. Armen Petrosian by knockout in a second. After that, we had a fight I'm excited for, because I'm excited to see one of these guys finally back. Well, actually, not finally, he fought not long ago, but still always good to see someone fighting consistently. As we have Kyle, the Natural Borrello, versus Abus Magomedov. Let's talk about Kyle. I'm so hyped to see Kyle back. Dude is really good. I like that he's fighting consistently. And yeah, Kyle is 4-0 in the UFC, coming off Contender Series. His 4 wins: Gadziev, Armen Petrosian, Makhmud Muradov, and Michael Olejniczak. He just looked great against everyone. Gadzi had nothing for him. Armen had nothing for him. Muradov was his weakest performance, but he still looked pretty good. And Olejniczak he beat pretty soundly. Like, Kyle's really good. His striking is still not phenomenal, but I think that will get better. His ground game, though, he's just a fucking mauler. He gets on your back and just fucking mauls you. And it fucking works. It works against it has worked against everyone, and it probably will keep working, man. Because he's just that good. He's a future top 15 dude. He probably should already be ranked. If fucking Jack Hermanson and Chris Kurz are ranked, I think Kyle Borrello should be. So, but yeah, Kyle is great. Like, 30 years old, prime of his career, 14-1 record. He's a problem in that division. If his striking can get better, he's gonna be a really big issue in that division. And they might have a problem on their hand they ain't ready for, so yeah. I'm excited to see Kyle back here. I'm excited to see Kyle fight up more and more as he wins, and I think it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, I'm happy to see Kyle back, to the son of Paulo and Charles. It's gonna be interesting. Gonna be very, very interesting. To talk about his fraud opponent, Abus Magomedov, not gonna say much. Abus is 1-1 in the UFC. He beat some Kaynan and then lost to Sean Strickland. Yeah, Abus sucks. Dude has like 2 minutes of gas tank, and that's about it. He's gonna get beat pretty easily because he's not good. And yeah, Kyle's just gonna take him down, gas him out, sub him, go home. So yeah, not much to say. The betting odds for this fight have Kyle Borrello minus 250 to plus 205. I'd have Kyle higher. You'd put him 300 and up. Like, he's gonna win this fight. What's his threat here? The 2 minutes of a boost. That's the 2 minute gas tank of a boost. Come on, let's not be stupid. Kyle's gonna win this fight easily. Let's not lie to ourselves. So, yeah. My pick here is, of course, going to be Kyle Borrello. I think he's going to, well, he is just going to smash a booth, take him down, wear him out, sub him, go home. Well, stay home. You're already in Brazil. So, yeah, not much to say. My pick here is going to be Kyle Borrello, and I'm going to say, I think it's the first time I've ever picked Kyle to win by finish. So, let me check. Oh, no, I'm wrong. What the fuck was I smoking here? My pick here is going to be Kyle Borrello by submission in the... I'm going to say the second. Yeah. Maybe it could be late in the first, but more likely the second. So, yeah. Kyle Borrello by submission in the second. Should not be too difficult. Kyle is a beast. After that, we head to our fourth fight of the main card, which is terrible. And we have Rodrigo the Colmeia Nascimento versus Dantel Lord Kong Mays. Low level heavyweight fight. Gotta always have one. And this is a rematch. I did not know that. Let's talk about Rodrigo Nascimento. Rodrigo in UFC is 3-1-1. His wins, his debut win was against Dantel Mays. He also beat Tanner Boser and Alir Latifi. He lost to Chris Dawkins and had a no contest with Alan Badeau. For his wins, I'll talk about the Mays fight more in a second, but yeah, in the last 2 fights, he was able to hold Boser down and beat Latifi at range. You know, that was a pretty bad performance by Rodrigo. You could give that fight to Latifi, to be honest. Not a great performance. Getting beat by Chris Dawkins is never a good thing, and I don't know, you going to a no contest with Alan Badeau? Really? Or having a no contest, my bad. Yeah. And I'll talk about the first fight after I talk about Dantel. But yeah, Rodrigo is, I guess, has gotten better since that first fight. His striking's a little better, but still nothing great. Like, he uses his reach a little bit more, which is good, but besides that, he's not a good fighter at all. He's a very bad fighter. And he's a low-level heavyweight. Not very much to say about him. Just a low-level heavyweight. To talk about his opponent, Dantel Mays. Dantel in the UFC is 3-1. It's 3 wins. Rogue Martinez, Josh Parisian, and Andrei Arlovsky. His 3 losses, Sorogan, Rodrigo Nascimento, and Augusto Sakai. For 3 wins, Martinez is garbage, Parisian's garbage, and Andrei Arlovsky is older than dirt. For 3 losses, Sorogan, sure, understandable to an extent. Nascimento, you're pushing it, and Sakai, you lost me. And this was just a dreadful performance. He did not give a shit. For 15 minutes, he let Sakai hug him against the cage. No joke. So, very just lazy bitch performance by Mays here. Very unimpressed. And he had a no contest with Hamidi, which Hamdi popped for, yeah. Actually, I want to know what did it say why Nascimento got turned to a no contest here? Nope. Cool. Excuse me. Yeah, that since the first fight of Nascimento, Dantel's about the same fighter. He's never been a good fighter. He's still just Dantel Mays. He's not good. He can strike very little. He has a bad gas tank. He can barely go to the ground. It's just not good. I don't think so. I think he's somehow the shittier fighter pretty clearly, and that says a lot. So, yeah. And then their first fight, Nascimento beat him. A younger shit, if you ask the question who has got better since the first fight, it's Nascimento. But neither are good, and I don't really think that the first fights can play a factor in this. I don't Mays even fucking cares, and Nascimento, again, who cares? So, I don't know, I'm not looking forward to this fight. I think it's gonna be boring. I think it should be on the prelims. I think Hill or Rinat should be on the main card over this. And, yeah, very bad fight. The betting on the first fight had Nascimento minus 180 to plus 155. What was Nascimento in the first fight? 190, right? So, I agree with you. Let's have him a bigger favorite than he was in the first fight. I like that. And, yeah. My pick here is going to be Rodrigo Nascimento. He should win this fight. I don't know why he wouldn't, unless he gets clipped and finished, which I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm going to go Rodrigo Nascimento to get the win here, and I'm going to go by decision. I thought about picking submission in the first fight, but I could totally see him just laying on Mays for 15 minutes and getting a win, so, in low level heavyweight, so, yeah, I'm going Rodrigo Nascimento by decision. After that, we had to the co-main event of the evening. Pretty fine fight between Gabriel Maratinha Bonfim versus Nicholas Danish Dynamite Dalby. Let's talk about Gabriel and Bonfim. Gabriel in the UFC is 2-0. His 2 wins are coming out Contender Series. His 2 wins are Montserrat Lazez and Trevin Giles. Against Lazez, he was able to catch him in a guillotine when he shot. Against Giles, he caught him in a guillotine, taking him down. Gabriel's a problem. He's, first of all, the better Bonfim brother, very clearly. And he's really good. His striking needs to get better, but his ground game is scary. If you go to the ground with him, you're getting tapped out. And he keeps showing that, man. He keeps just fucking these dudes up. Giles, you should fuck up because he's terrible, but Lazez, who's actually not the worst fighter in the world, he ran through like he was nothing, so good shit, Gabriel. Good shit, man. Gabriel is a problem. A big fucking problem. And I think 170, on this card alone, you have Gabriel and Rinat. Welterweight better be watching this card, watching those 2 fights oh shit, we have problems on our hands, so, yeah. Gabriel's just great. Ground game is great. Striking's getting better. He's just really good. Draw by his opponent, Nicholas Dalby. Not really as much good to say. Dalby in the UFC is 6-3, 1-1. I'll just talk about his last couple fights because he's been on a nice winning streak. He beat Claudio Silva, he beat Warley Alves, and he beat Muslim Salikov. So, nice 3-fight winning streak against very old dudes, but still. He beat Claudio in a very forgettable fight. He beat Warley in a very whatever fight. It was a pretty close fight, which says a lot. And then he actually dominated Muslim Salikov really badly, which is kind of shocking. But, yeah, he's been on a nice winning streak, but, again, he's fought 3 dudes about his age, like, in their late 30s, so, and he's not even looked that good in those wins. His best performance was the Salikov fight. He looked underwhelming against Claudio and Warley, so, yeah. Dalby's like the most below average fighter you'll ever see. He's not really great at anything. He's very boring. He's never got a finish one in the UFC. Like, he's just not really that entertaining of a fighter. He's not that good of a fighter, and he's 38 years old now. He's just nothing that great, and props from going on a nice winning streak this late into his career, and the Salikov one is, on paper, it's good. Salikov's not the worst fighter in the world, but, man, I don't know how he got this shit. But, it's just not like if he did have a prime, he definitely passed it. This is nice. That's funny. He's just not that good, and I don't really have much good to say about him. He's not really great. Like, if he wins a fight, it's a boring fight. Let's just be blunt about it. If he's gonna win a fight, it's gonna be boring. So, yeah. The betting odds for his fight have Gabriel Bonfim minus 550 to plus 400. I agree. Bonfim could be 600-700. Like, he's gonna win this fight. I don't even know how Dalby really loses, or how Dalby wins this fight. By making it boring, pretty much. And I don't see how he is gonna do that against Bonfim, so, yeah. My pick here is, of course, Gabriel Bonfim. I really don't see how he can lose this fight. He's not gonna get knocked out. He's not gonna get submitted. He's just gonna need to be fucking bored to know, which is not gonna happen. So, yeah, my pick here is Gabriel Bonfim. I'm gonna go by submission in these first. I think he's gonna just do what he does, get another quick submission, go home. I really don't see, and he is my lock of the night. I don't know if I said that or not. I just really don't see how Dalby wins this fight. So, in any way. So, yeah, my pick here is Gabriel Bonfim by submission the first. Just really don't see any path of victory here for Dalby. So, yeah. And then for the main event of the evening, a pretty good fight. Pretty predictable, but still good. We have Jailton Malhadino Almeida versus Derek the Black Beast Lewis. What a good fight. As predictable as it is, it's still a good fight. Always great to see Derek Lewis fight. I'll get right to the chase. I don't need to break down Derek Lewis and Jailton Almeida. Most people know by now. If you don't, you should know. 99% chance Jailton just takes him down and subs him. Like Spivak did, like fucking couple other, like DC. Most likely he's gonna just shoot on him, take him down, especially a short-nosed Derek Lewis. He stepped in last 2 weeks ago. So I really don't see any path of victory. It's very, very bleak for Derek here. Most likely he's gonna get taken down sub like Jairzinho. Cause he's pretty much just a little bit better Jairzinho. He's a heavy fucking power puncher who can't do anything else. He has a little ground game, aka just standing up. But he's just probably gonna get taken down and subbed, so yeah. I agree with the betting odds here, and trust me, I'm gonna pick Derek Lewis out of bias, because I think there is that 1% chance he could knock him out. You never dare. He could curse blades him. There's a world where he fucking throws that uppercut when Jalton shoots, puts him out. There's a world where he just stops the takedown, they strike a little bit, and he knocks him out. But are we gonna see? There's a world where he just fucking stands up when he gets taken down. But is that gonna happen? Probably not. So I'm gonna pick Lewis like I always do. I've never picked against Derek, even when I think he's gonna lose, like I have in his last couple fights. But you never know. Like, never count out Derek Lewis. He could fucking come out with a Masvidal knee for all we know. Is he going to? Will Derek win? Probably not. But with how MMA has been this year, would it shock you? Bobby Green, fucking Sean Strickland, Alexa Grasso, the year of the upset. Fucking anything's possible. So I won't be that shocked, but I can't count Derek Lewis, man. So my pick here out of pure bias, let me say that again, pure bias, I don't think he's actually gonna win. My pick here is Derek Lewis. I'm gonna pick him by knockout in the first, like I always do for every one of his fights. I'll just to prove it. This is pure bias. Fuck, I'll tell you right now, if he wins and I get this right, I'll say it was pure bias. So, but I've picked him by knockout in every fight. Every fight. Fights I had no faith in him winning. Fights I thought he could win. So that's just I'm Derek Lewis fan like everyone else, and I always want to see him win. So yeah, my pick here is gonna be Derek Lewis. I don't think he's gonna win, but gotta pick him. So yeah, you never know. MMA this here, we've seen crazier things, which says a lot. That Derek Lewis being jailed and Almeida would not even be the craziest thing this year by a mile. Wouldn't it be the craziest fight night thing this year by a mile? What's that thinking? So yeah, we're not much more to say. Derek Lewis, let's get the upset. After an hour and 12 minutes, boom! There's the card. The card of my picks. One last fucking time. Kauê Fernandes by knockout in the first. Edra Moura by submission in the first. Denise Gomes by decision. Victor Petrino by knockout in the first. That might change to second. Daniel Marcos by decision. Rinat Fakhretdinov by decision. Elves Brener by decision. Ismael Bonfim by knockout in the second. Arman Petrosian by knockout in second. Kyle Borrello by submission in second. Rodrigo Nascimento by decision. Gabriel Bonfim, my lock of the night, by submission in the first. And Derek Lewis, pure bias, by knockout in the first. Boom boom. There you go. Finally! Why did that take so long? Did I already break down the fights that much? I don't think I did, but whatever. Yeah, and this is why I put timestamps on my video, because they're way too fucking long. But, yeah, not really much more to say. That's the card, those are my picks. I hope you enjoyed it. Pretty good card, man. Like, the only bad fights on the card are this. I'm not too excited about this. And this could be pretty bad, but everything else I'm pretty excited for. So, yeah. And, not very much more to say. You'll hear me recap this card, Sunday, 1 p.m. EST is when I'll put it up, or 10 a.m. EST on Monday if I get lazy on Saturday night, you never know. But, yeah. I'm excited for this card, happy to be back for 3 weeks, and, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs go, 50 subs go by the end of the year. Comment below, tell me anything you want to tell me, picks, whatever the fuck. And unless I'm going to say something, which I don't think I am, finally, as always, now you can tell that I've been off for a while, because I want to talk a lot. No, I didn't. As always, RX. Out. Never count out Derek Lewis.